Once you set your game up for the first reconnaissance mission, you can begin playing by movement. Just by moving around the map and exploring, you can learn a lot of the gameplay mechanics. At the beginning of your turn, you should already have 5 cards in your hand. And you'll use these cards to basically do 3 things: move, interact, and fight. Within a turn, the first thing that you have to do is move. So as my character, as I start up at the beginning of the game, I will put my character on the portal and we'll start there. I don't have to move except for if I'm on that portal. Otherwise, I don't have to move. So I will move, and then I can either interact with a village or some other area, or I can fight. The mechanics for interacting and fighting are very similar to movement, so once you understand movement, the rest should be pretty easy to follow. So let's first look at the day-night board. At the daytime, we see that each of the terrain types has a different movement cost. So to move on the open field is just a cost of 2, whereas moving through the forest is a cost of 3. The small number over here on the forest is actually what the cost is at nighttime. If we turn the card over, we can see that here at nighttime the cost of moving through the forest is 5, but at daytime it's 3. So looking at my character, if I want to move to the forest, that's going to cost me 3 because it's the daytime, but if I move to the open plain, that costs me 2. Terrain with an X on it means that you cannot move to those locations. So let's see how we would move. First, we look at all the different cards in our hands and we see that they have certain abilities, and then if we play mana on it, we have an increased ability. So for example, this card, I can attack or block 2 with this card by itself, or if I have a blue mana, then I can block 5. So let's look for any movement cards. So here we have an example of moving 2 with the card as it is, or I can, if I have green mana, I can move 4. For this one here, I can move 2, or if I have the white mana, I actually don't move, but I have a range attack of 3. Now, one very interesting thing about Mage Knight is that you can take any card, and if you turn it sideways, you get 1 point worth of whatever action you're trying to do. So if I am moving, for example, let's say that I didn't have mana, I could move 2 with this card, but then with this other one, that's a movement of 3. And I could play things down 4, 5, 6, whether I'm attacking, blocking, trying to influence, or in this case, moving. So let's see how much we can move. Now, in your turn, you can draw 1 mana. So I want to move 4. I need a green mana, and fortunately, in the source, that's this area over here, there is a green mana. So by placing the green mana on the card, I can move 4. Then I also have a move card here, so I can move 2, so that's a total of 6. So I can just move my character 2, 4, 6 right there. Now I could decide to interact with people in the village, but for this case I'm going to just do exploration. So what I want to do is explore a tile, and that costs 2 movement as well. To generate those 2 points of movement, I'm just going to take 2 cards and lay them down sideways for 2 movement points. Then what I'm going to do is draw the top tile off the stack of tiles and turn it over. We place it down in the same way that we have done in the setup. So here I'm exploring this area, and we match circle and star, and we make sure that the number is oriented the same as the other tiles. So that's the basics of movement and how you play your cards to get those movement points. Now I have one more card that allows me to attack or block. If I turn it sideways, I'd only have 1 movement point, and that's too few to actually move to a tile. So I'm just going to keep this in my hand, And so now we can kind of talk about what happens at the end of a turn, a very basic turn. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll take this mana die and we'll roll it and now put it back on the source. Then we take the cards that we've already played and we'll discard those cards. As you travel around the area, you'll find that there are special spaces like this Magic Glade and the Crystal Mines. If you end your turn on those places, you can get special things happen. So for example, in the Crystal Mines, if you end your turn there, you gain 1 mana crystal of the color that the mine produces. On the Magical Glades, if you end your turn on the Magical Glade, you can throw away 1 wound card from your hand or discard pile. And then on the Magical Glade, if you start in the Magical Glade, you actually get a gold mana during the day, and at the nighttime you get a black mana token. So let me briefly mention the difference between a mana token and a mana crystal. A mana crystal is something that you put in your inventory. So basically what that means is that you can keep it through different turns within a round, so you can use it any time within the round. But a mana token could be this little crystal-looking element, but it only lasts for your turn. So if you haven't used it within the turn, the mana token has to be returned. And so you can think of the die also can act as a mana token. So if you take it from the source and you use it within your turn, that's a mana token. Now, as you progress, you may earn rewards from combat, or you can also level up, and those things would happen at the end of your turn. You may also get things like spells or action cards or skills, and again, you collect all those things at the end of your turn so that other people can begin playing while you are deciding what skills or actions you want. Now, at the very end, you draw the cards off the top to bring your card count up to whatever it is for your particular level. And as you start, it's 5. So we have 1 card, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course then you can take them and look at them. So one mini game that you could do would be to just take your characters and explore the land.